Welcome and thank you. My name is Sasha Knox, and I will be working with you for the next couple slides here to talk about crafting a federal resume. Why is that different than any other resume or a civilian resume? What aspects will you need and information to get you started? Again, my name is Sasha Knox. I'm the job placement coordinator for San Diego City College, and let's go ahead and get started. So today's intro and purpose, there are really two different types of non-executive positions in the federal government. There are those with competitive service and those with accepted services. Competitive service positions are subject to civilian service laws and passed by Congress. And these laws help to ensure fair and open competition during the recruitment process from all segments of the society. And the selection and the basis of these applications and the competencies, the knowledge, the skills, and abilities that you'll need. Accepted service positions are defined by statute, by the president, or by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, which is also known as OPM, as accepted. And these positions are not subject to the appointment, pay rate, and classification rules. And it's a different level of competitive service. So really, in addition to all of this information, the process in itself may be similar for a federal position or for applications that need a federal resume, but they are distinctly different. And most of those differences can be found through the job announcement or the JOA, job opportunity announcement. The job opportunity announcement is going to provide applicants with the information necessary to know about the job qualifications, whether it's an accepted service or a competitive service. It's going to tell you the duties, the salary, who you'll be reporting to, the duty location, the benefits, and any security requirements that may be necessary. When we talk about federal resumes, these are generally going to be specific positions working within the federal government, some municipal aspects of government, federal positions period throughout our organizations, and some again accepted service. You're going to know if it's a federal position or federal resume. You are going to want to use a federal resume for any type of federal position that you may be applying to. A traditional resume and what we call a civilian resume will not suffice. There are very distinct differences in specific classifications and needs on your federal resume that if they're not listed, you're not going to be eligible to continue in the recruitment process. And this process is really different than some private industries or what we call public sectors. And most of those recruitment process and classifications are mandated by law. And that's why a different resume is needed. That's why a different information is needed to ensure that we're upholding all of those classifications correctly. So some general helpful tips that you're going to want to know and need. Number one, a federal resume does not have a standard application. And while oftentimes for traditional resumes or civilian resumes, we'll say, keep it one page, maybe 1 to 2 pages. Federal resumes I've seen from 3 to 5 to 10 to 15 pages long. It just must meet and answer adequately that JOA. Your resume, which is distinctly different from any other recruitment process, your resume is the application in a federal recruitment process. Your resume is that golden key and ticket. And your federal resume is going to have all information necessary in order for you to advance. Versus some civilian resumes or other resumes, we say just put the critical and necessary information. Your federal resume is going to follow suit, but have much more detail than you would on a traditional resume. When you apply to a federal resume, same rules apply there. You're only going to apply for what you are qualified for. And I really want to take a moment and pause here, because generally in civilian positions or in public or private sectors, we can apply with the oomph and the notion that we may be qualified, or while we may have some skill sets, we may be attaining others. This does not work for the federal resume. When you look at that JOA, or that job opportunity announcement, it is a concrete set deadline and checklist for everything that you must possess to the letter of a T or to the dot of an I before you apply for that position. You have to understand the importance and the description and the announcement. There are two main differences that we'll cover there. The job description is going to look a little bit different than the job opportunity announcement. And there's going to be some key differences there that you must answer in your resume. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Your resume is the application in the federal recruitment process. So you must answer and attune and have this information listed on your federal resume. And then lastly, as always, you want to make sure that you're translating and articulating your skills adequately to ensure to show that recruiter that you are the best person for the job. So tip number one, you're always going to read that JOA fully and carefully. As I mentioned previously, you're not going to apply to a position with any aspect of that JOA that you do not possess. If it asks for a specific certification or degree, you must be enrolled in that degree, you must be attaining that degree, you must have that degree or that certification before you apply. Same for security clearances, same for skills and abilities. If this is something that you don't yet have or possess that you're working on, I would suggest that you do not apply to that position just yet. You make sure to master that skill, that ability, that certification, that need and that ask in that job description, and then apply for a specific federal resume. As always, you want to tailor your resume. Tailoring your resume means that you're only going to put the concrete information as listed in that actual application, which in this case is your resume. You're not going to have information and positions outside and outliers for the position that you may be applying to that do not apply. It is the same notion that I've spoken with to many students before. If you're packing for a trip to the Bahamas, you're not going to bring a snow jacket and some skis, right? You're not going to use those on the beach in the Bahamas. Same rules apply for your federal resume. You're not going to put extra filler and fluff information into that application without knowing concretely that it answers the JOA, that job opportunity announcement. And you always want to ensure that you have some basic information to qualify your responses. So we'll talk a little bit about listing that specific skill and accomplishment, but you want to make sure that you use those skills and accomplishments when you're answering that JOA, and you qualify that information in your responses on your resume. So let's talk a little bit about the job opportunity announcement. You want to study this like it's your homework and emphasize the parts of your work history that match the qualifications listed there. That is the main crux and crevices that you want to answer and live on your resume. It's important to portray your knowledge and skills as a match the requirement of the position to demonstrate your ability to the job. As I stated previously, your federal resume is your application. So oftentimes candidates can either delineate themselves out of the running or class themselves into a lower ranking pay rate by not adequately demonstrating the skills and abilities that you have. And so this is really easy to do when you include in your results, into your bullets, some results, the achievements and the accomplishments that you have. Minimize the use of technical jargon or specialized terminology, including military abbreviations or special classifications in your federal resume. While you may be speaking the language of your audience, you want to maximize the use of your resume bullets to really speak to those results, the achievements, and the accomplishments of demonstrating that skill or ability listed in that job announcement. I'm going to show you really how to read them by clicking on a link in just a second. But what you want to use to articulate those skills is your education, your level of training, and your expertise and experience. So let's now look together at a sample job of opportunity announcement, also known as a JOA. So on my screen, you should see, and I'm hoping you can see it, a JOA for a Presidential Management Fellows Program. What we're looking at is eligibility. Again, you want to make sure to the letter T that you meet all of these requirements before you apply. You want to look at the program administration. You want to look at training and development. This way is a little bit an internship style position. So there are some differences that I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to click on the Presidential Management Program. So again, this is the Presidential Management Fellows Program, and this is where you can find some key information. But I want to highlight that this is not yet the JOA. You want to make sure that you are looking specifically at the JOA. So here I'll click on the opportunity. Compensation. This is going to show me my pay and my benefits, the student loans, the partnerships. I'm going to click on Grow with Us. This is going to give me additional information about the program, but the PMF as a pathway is our specific information about this description. I'm going to show a different example of a job JOA. So Pathways is a specific program, internship program for many of our students. So you can learn more about the Pathways program here. And again, this is going to list the specific information about this program. So you're going to learn eligibility, the program administration, or who is the hiring agency. It's going to be listed publicly on USA Jobs, and you can click that link for more information. The program completion and conversion, some additional information, and the program needs. Once you have mastered what you need from the JOA, here's some additional information that you want to emphasize. So when you're studying the JOA and you emphasize the important parts of your work, you want, when you're writing your federal resume, to be sure to include all relevant experience. It is common for federal resumes to be longer than average, so do not cut out important details to try and fit your resume to 1 to 2 pages. A good federal resume should clearly outline your key work, your volunteer experiences, your academic accomplishments, as well as any extracurricular activities. And it should also highlight your unique skills that set you apart and make you uniquely qualified for this position. You want to make sure, again, that you're studying that job of opportunity announcement and emphasize the part of your work that matches what they're listing in that JOA. Remember, human resource specialists may not be familiar with your specific career field. So your resume needs to have some of those technical pieces that helps them match the vacant position to your experience in very plain layman's terms. Most importantly, describe your job duties and accomplishments in a way that makes sure to demonstrate that you're qualified for the position that you're applying to. Things that you really want to pay attention to and detail out is the JOA number, and also the job title and job grade for which you're applying for. You're going to need this information on several aspects of your resume, and I'll show you where those are located on your actual federal resume. You want to make sure that your full name, your mailing address, a day, time, phone, and a home email address are accessible on your resume. Your country of citizenship, if it's different from the US, should be on that job opportunity of announcement. If there are any special hiring authorities in which you may be given or eligible for additional points. For example, if you are a veteran, if you have worked in the Peace Corps or in the VISTA Volunteers Program, or if you're a person with a disability and you'll have a Schedule A form, it will be listed on that JOA. Any education and your veteran status, you want to make sure that your military experience qualifies you for a lot of areas in your federal resume. So you want to demonstrate that, and you'll see those conversion rates on the JOA. And then, of course, any work experience. At this point, I want to show you an example of what a federal resume looks like. So again, you will see the position that they have listed here, the date that they were in this work position, the salary that they were given, either per month or hourly rate or biweekly rate, how many hours a week they worked in that position, the series, right? Remember I talked about that JOA, that plan, right? So the series and the pay plan and the grade are all necessary for any part of your federal resume. The name of the position, so the actual career title, the duties and skills as related to the position that you're applying to. So you will demonstrate here, as this again is an administrative assistant position, you'll demonstrate what bookings, what reports, qualify your knowledge and skills. So this individual says they worked in an office with over 100 federal employees and they ensured day-to-day operations ran efficiently. They do so from a logistical point that demonstrates their skills. Additional bullets of information as it relates to the JOA, some accomplishments, their supervisor to whom they report it to, and then if it's okay to contact that supervisor. So in a federal resume, all of this information is necessary, required, and mandated in order for you to advance. Again, this is what looks very different from a civilian resume because your federal resume is your application. So a lot of the information that would be listed in a common application for a job resume is actually listed here right in your federal resume. So what gets verified from your federal resume? When they review your resume, they're juxtaposing it among the JOA, and they're verifying your experience, your education, your program of study, Any semester hours that you have completed or will complete. They're looking at your training, any ranked system, so any prior military experience that you may have. They're also looking at the level of expertise in your prior role. So they're looking at the amount of hours that you may work, they're looking at your actual position, and they're looking at who you may have reported to prior. So when you are completing your resume, as shown by that demonstration previously, you want to make sure that your job and your work experience is included. You want the name, the title of the supervisor, your official title, the dates, the amount of hours per week, and your pay rate. You want to talk about the experience that you gained and align that to the job announcement. You want to detail out how you meet the minimum qualification and then write details on how you may exceed that qualification as well. And you demonstrate that by any accomplishments that you may have. You want to prove your ability to demonstrate the tasks that are listed in that JOA, and then which role you specifically serve. So if you were a supervisor, a manager, or an individual contributor, you want to make sure that that information is listed within the details of that job experience or called out specifically as a line item when you're detailing out the job experience. You want to match your competencies specifically to the JLA. And these are done with the competencies, the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, and your experience. Again, when you're looking at that JOA, these are going to be listed and detailed out specifically for you. You want to make sure that your federal resume closely matches it, demonstrates it, and shows how you meet the minimum and exceed those qualifications. There are two main resume builders that you can use to help. One is on USA Jobs, and a website that I've previously shown for you, and that link is here on the screen. You can also reach out to Job Placement Services directly. We have some fillable templates that we can provide to you, again, demonstrating an example that you see on your screen. So the minimum and bare requirements of what must be listed in your federal resume and how to write those experience and accomplishments. Thank you so much for your time. Please contact us in the Career and Transfer Center if you have any additional questions. I'll be happy to support you.